So, this is gonna be about something. Once again, it's going to be just one of the episodes where I'm not reading a lot, but I'm talking a lot, and I'm trying to talk quite a lot about different things. But more as always after the intro. And the first thing is actually going to be about reading, to be honest, because not the whole episode is going to be about me talking about my thoughts. There's also just going to be something that I go through just because I'm interested in those things and just because it is good. But yeah, if you want to actually listen to this episode just because it is actually a podcast, not really a YouTube show, then I really just suggest you to go down into the description and check out the link to the podcast. This link should also lead you to a site where you can also choose which platform you would be listening on or you want to be listening on, which might be Apple Podcasts, which might be Google Podcasts, which might be Stitcher, which might be, I don't know which platform. Like there's so many different platforms, but you can choose, you can choose, you can do that. But I have to get my blankets. Since I'm anyway going to cut it out, it's just totally fine. It's totally workable. I guess. Maybe this is even enough. Maybe I do not even need 2 blankets to do that. But I'm not quite sure. So the first thing, as I said before, is indeed going to be about reading. And it's going to be about Seth's blog. I think I'm actually going to choose this one, because it just works a little bit better, I guess. For most of the things that I'm talking about, it's just a little tiny bit better. Yeah, that's fine. That's good. I like it. I like it that way. So where does this bus go? ? One approach which is tempting in the short run is to wait until people are on the bus and then ask each person where they want to go. Seek to build consensus. Try not to leave anyone out. The other approach, which works far better if you have a fleet of available buses, is to announce in advance where the bus is going. That way, anyone who wants to go where you've headed or where you're headed can go on board. Enrollment is critical. Enrollment allows leaders to lead, not by endlessly acquiring those that they seek to serve, but by announcing their destination, then heading there with all deliberate speed. Yeah, it just makes sense. First of all, the first 2 paragraphs are somehow suggesting, at least at my point of view, at least as what I'm seeing there, at least what I'm feeling there somehow, they are somehow talking about saying what you're doing. So this is obviously a metaphor. Seth Godin is just really often working with metaphors, and I have to say that I think in general they are working pretty fine, and they are always working pretty fine. And sometimes they're not really good, at least as I've experienced it, not with Seth, but with just me, for example, myself, trying to use metaphors and all those things. Sometimes it's just not that good. Sometimes it can just be a little bit better by just maybe being a little bit more direct, by maybe just saying it what it is like or how it is like. But I think just because of the last paragraph, enrollment is critical. Enrollment allows leaders to lead, not by endlessly acquiring those that they seek to serve, but by announcing their destination, then heading there with all deliberate speed. Not by endlessly acquiring those that they seek to serve. Which means I guess just always searching for them. But if you're having some sort of audience, if you're having the possibilities, you can just say where you're heading to, and then people are going to jump on. I think, this is actually something that I've been actually thinking about yesterday while I was sleeping or while I was trying to sleep. Often it is the case, and you probably know it as well, when you're trying to sleep and then your head goes on, basically. Like during the whole day, it might actually be the case that you weren't able to actually come up with any ideas, and then suddenly when you're actually going to bed, then your brain starts working. And you might just know that it has somehow been the case for me yesterday. Not just fully, it wasn't bothering me that much. I most often really like it, just because I'm then having the possibility and ability to think about different things and just think about what I can do the next day, what I could have done today, what I can do with the podcast and all those things that I'm doing just in the next time and whatsoever, and also to just enjoy that I'm just laying down and that I'm able to rest, because most often I'm really not giving myself time to rest during the day. Not really that actively, not really like laying down and doing nothing, but of course I'm sometimes just getting my escapism in. Like, of course I get that, and of course I do just watch a lot of YouTube during the day, and I sometimes actually then just watch more YouTube than I'm working, which then pisses me off and whatsoever. But I'm just really appreciating it then, when I'm able to just lay down and do nothing, and that's quite it then for the day, and I call it a day. And this is quite nice. This is quite nice, but only if I've had just a really productive day. If I haven't done anything during the day, it is something that really bothers me, and this is also something that I do not really like then, because I just then know, okay, I haven't really done anything this day, and I wasn't really productive this day. I really don't like that feeling. This is also one of the reasons why I try to just get up as early as I can, basically, with also just having a look at my health, just because I know that during the week, especially when just during school time, I'm not actually getting that much of sleep. I'm definitely just, I don't know, having a lack of sleep, at least on certain days, especially on certain days. And then I'm really just also focusing on getting the sleep and getting also the health right and whatsoever, because in the long run, it is definitely important. It is definitely important to just stay healthy and stay feeling good and all those things, because without health, it's like, won't work. It won't just work. But yeah, what I've been thinking about, just to come actually to the point, is that branding and brand. And Seth Godin is definitely having a brand, and Seth Godin himself is definitely a brand. And this is also something that he's able to use, because people know that he's a good author. People know that he's doing good stuff. And whenever he's starting something new, whether it be the podcast that he's just started in 2018, his newest one, it's just insane. There are going to be some people that are watching and or listening in this term, and there are just going to be people. When I'm starting something new, nobody cares, because I'm not a brand, because I'm not having a brand. I'm not just an ambassador of a brand. This is something that I'm not having, and this is also something that's particularly important to build, because for the long run, it's definitely worth it. Because even though you might not be just a YouTube star anymore, maybe you are not going to be an author anymore, maybe you're not going to be a podcaster anymore, but if you're doing something else, there might be some other people just coming from the space that you have been in and getting to your new place, because the possibility is there if you are a brand, if people like what you're doing and are not necessarily going for what you're doing, because I know it for myself, or I've also experienced it myself. The thing is, I'm just trying to think about if it was the case for Seth Godin's things, that he was doing and he's still doing. And I think, I don't know, like the thing is, I know that, the thing is, I knew his podcasts. The thing is, I'm not a great reader. I'm not reading such a lot, besides the podcast and besides actually Seth's blog. I'm actually not reading a lot. And also just besides comments and all those things, but I'm not counting these things as actual reading, because it's somehow not. But I've actually started to listen to what Seth is saying throughout his podcast. I think this is actually kind of the main point, or was the main point for me when I started to listening to him. And then I really got interested in his personality and in his person. And then I also started to just watch some YouTube videos that he was featured in. And then I've also started to just read his blog and also the Medium posts and whatsoever. So it's just been about his personality, which really was important for me then, because I really just admire him as a person. The thing is, I'm just actually thinking if it actually makes sense, the point that I was making, and now the example, if it is actually an example for what I was trying, or what I am trying to tell you. Not quite sure. Actually not quite sure at this point in time, but I think it somehow maybe is. I don't know. I hope, at least. Let's call it I'm hoping. I just like his personality, and this is also one of the reasons why I'm going to the blog, why I'm listening to the podcast, why I've been searching up some YouTube videos, why I've been also searching up some other content that he is and was producing. It's just because of his personality, just because of his brand. In the end, I know this is my little rant on Seth Godin things, on branding. Truly important, I guess. Truly important. And today I've actually also been listening, which is something that might be interesting to you as well. I'm listening to Edward Snowden and the interview with John Rogan, and it's been pretty interesting. Like, even if you might not be a fan of the whole conspiracy thing, if it is a conspiracy or not, this is something that I'm just not willing to discuss here. But the thing is, even though you might not be on his side or on the government side or just on anyone's side, it is still very interesting to see and have some insights into governmental stuff, I guess, and to just have some insights into to people's thoughts, and especially somebody like him that also was just searched for and all those things. So it's definitely really, really interesting to see what he has to say and to listen to him and what he's having to say. And it is actually a 3-hour video or something, you know, and he actually also streamed then for 3 hours. So it's definitely something, you know. It really is quite a lot, to be honest. 3 hours, like not exactly 3 hours, but I think it's 2 hours and a bit. Let's actually see if we can find it when I'm just typing in his name and then videos. Yeah, it's actually the first video. It's 2 hours and 49 minutes. Like, yeah, you know, and it has a lot of views, which is something that we all can, I think, understand, or at least I'm understanding it. Like, of course, it just somehow makes sense for me. And he's actually pretty young, as I've noticed, as I've seen. He is 36. Like, yeah, okay, it is really, really young, actually. 36. It's pretty interesting. So for all the people that might be interested in that, please check it out. Please Google it up. Yeah, it might just be interesting to you and or for you, or just with you, in you. Hopefully not in you, but but yeah, you know, let's actually look up the news, just because it's always just a good thing to do when or I could go through some Reddit. I could also do that, I guess. Some self-help Reddit. You know, to just go through some questions that might even be from you. But I think when I'm doing that, I'm actually gonna use this thing, because I guess it's working a little tiny bit better. Mental health. Do you ever think... Actually, let's scroll down. I don't know who I am, and I'm 19-year-old male. Yeah, I don't know. The thing is, we are all individuals. This is also something that plays into that, because like some people haven't figured out who they are and what they should be doing in their life, what they should be working on, and all those things. And that's totally fine. The most important part then is to just try out things and to just look for it and to just search for it on your own, and really not getting disappointed and or discouraged by not finding something, you know, not finding something in the first month or first 2 months, because it can actually take some time, I guess, you know, because we are all individuals, and it's, you know, it might be taking you 5 months, you know, and somebody else, it might just only take 4.5. This is maybe the beauty and maybe also kind of the downsides of us all being individuals, that we all have to figure out the stuff ourselves. Might also be just relatively fucked up for some people that are not really into just figuring out stuff themselves. You know, they are more like just being led and not like a leader. You know, if you know what I mean, if you just know or understand what I'm talking about, and all those things. But yeah, decision paralysis, can't decide what to do, torn between 2 countries. It is actually also something that I've been struggling with, and I'm still struggling with. Decision making is something that I hardly like to do. When it's about, okay, should I just eat this and that, you know, that's not a problem, you know. But if it is about just some bigger decisions, you know, some major decisions that I'm having to do in my life or having to make in my life, then I'm often just trying to just get around them, or often just trying to not answer those questions and not make those decisions, just because maybe I'm feared of it. You know, this could just also be a thing. Maybe I'm feared that I'm just not taking the right decisions. Could also be something. I don't know. How to get your shit together is also something that I've been covering yesterday. Still don't know. Like, I think it's again something that we all have to figure out for ourselves. I'm stuck in life. Yeah, we all are from time to time. We all are. You know, I have been stuck in life, and I will be again stuck in life, I guess. You know, because it's just like, it is like the economy. Like, sometimes it goes down and sometimes it goes up. And this is also like a good part about life. You know, it's first of all a bad part. And it's also a good part, because without having the contrast of just feeling bad sometimes and of just having something that's fucked up sometimes, we're also not going to feel so good if everything is good and if everything is right and perfect and well done, whatever. We always need the contrast. You know, we always need to just know what it is like on the other side. You know, when everything is not greener on that side, but actually more dark kind or brownish, kind of sluggish. Never mind. Am I too ugly or am I overthinking? I think more like overthinking. Like, the thing is, we're 7.7 billion people on the planet. You know, there just has to be one singular person that just likes you, just singularly by your looks. If you like this person as well, it's just another question, but I don't know, there are enough people. If it is about that, and it's probably going to be about that, because nobody's actually insecure in terms of their looks when it's not coming up to how people think of this particular person, I guess. You know, because if you would actually give a fuck, then you would also give a fuck that you might not just be the communities and or the societies words, vocabulary, where is it? I'm just trying to find it. Like, you know, there is always some sort of a way people should be looking in certain societies and at certain points of time, you know. And if you're not this particular person, and if you're not falling into this specific category, you know, if you're not part of this specific category, then it's also fine, because you might be just in the specific category in another culture or in another time. Like, just what we are viewing as ugly nowadays is definitely not what we have viewed like 50 years ago. It's been different, you know. It's been maybe slightly, maybe significantly, I couldn't tell right now. Like the what is it called, like beauty ideal beauty, is there something like that? Feminine beauty ideal. Yeah, it is actually what it is. Women get photoshopped into cultural beauty standards. Like, as I said, every culture is having its more, I think more like its own beauty standards or beauty ideals. And yeah, struggling to do anything. Humans can be such horrible beings. Yeah, we can. It's just really incredible. How to be proactive. I don't even know what proactive means. Of a person or action creating or controlling a situation rather than just responding to it after it has happened. How to be proactive. Basically, that's it. How can I be proactive? I mean, like, it's actually a very, very, very difficult question to answer, since just saying like, okay, just act is not a really good answer, you know. There should be just something more than that, I guess. But yeah, I'm not quite sure. It's actually relatively difficult to say. How can you be proactive? You know, how can you actually do things? I guess there just has to be a motivation to do things. And if there is no motivation, you're also not going to do that. And or a reason, you know. If you're actually feeling the urge of doing something or the urge of being proactive, I think you're also going to be proactive, you know. If it might be about, I don't know, like the problem there is, of course, there's going to be some mental issues that are preventing you from actually being proactive, just because you kind of feel like that being proactive is going to make it worse and going to make it worse, even though it's not going to be. And other different things that are going to be just about mental things. At least I'm thinking of it, you know. I think that there is probably going to be just one of these things, one of these handicaps in the end as well. But yeah. One last question, I guess, you know, one last one, just because we're 20 minutes in, and that's fine. How do you feel happy about yourself? Maybe by just seeing that you are a pretty great person, that we all just having some, like, we all are bad at some things. We all are just bad in some terms as well. Like, I'm just really having pretty severe aggressions. Like, I am really angry from time to time, you know. I might be cutting in something, I might also not be, because I've actually sometimes recorded myself, you know, when I'm hitting my desk and when I'm raging and whatnot. And it's on the other hand, or in one hand, it's definitely just pretty crazy to see that I'm that, you know, that I'm doing that just actually looking at my face and then seeing that I'm actually exploding just at this certain moment or at one certain moment. It's just really, really interesting. But we all have flaws, you know. We all are just bad at some things. We all are, you know, nobody's perfect. Nobody really is perfect. And not in terms of some mental shit, not in terms of some physical shit, not in terms of anything. You know, we all not good and or the best or perfect at anything. And with that being said, I think this is actually a pretty good end or pretty good point to end this episode. I wish you the best health, of happiness, and also success. And I also hope that you're going to remind yourself, and you're going to be remembered. This basically means your legacy, because we can totally stimulate that by just, for example, being a nice person, then being remembered as a nice person. You know, the problem there is we're 7.7 billion people on this planet, and there's just going to be somebody that loves you, and there's going to be somebody that absolutely hates you. Just because, you know, just because it's actually the exact same reason why some people love you. It's just because, and some people hate you. It's just because. But yeah, 3 other questions that I hope that you're going to ask yourself are: why are you here? What are you trying to change? And what is bothering you the most? And I truly hope that you're going to ask yourself this question, because they're going to show you your purpose, hopefully, and maybe even some business ideas, since a lot of businesses started out with fixing something that just really bothered them or bothered the founders. But yeah, with that being said, I'll see you the next time, hopefully. So please subscribe so that I'm going to see you the next time. And you're also not going to miss out on any good information or any value on here.